CBS Atlanta News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
It is one of the top resolutions made every year. I want to quit smoking. Tobacco is often the first drug people take, and smoking contributes to some of the leading causes of death in the country. Good Sunday morning to you. I'm Brandon Rudat. Did you know every year people smoke 6 trillion cigarettes? This morning, we're going to be taking a look at the dangers of smoking, also talking about what you at home can do to stop. Take a look at these numbers. Every day, about 90,000 children try a cigarette. 10 million cigarettes are purchased in stores every minute throughout the world. And 1 in every 3 adults smoke a cigarette daily. By picking up your first cigarette, you are doing harm to your body. The lung disease, COPD, is the 3rd leading cause of death here in the United States, and for many, it all starts with a cigarette.
I was told by a doctor that I had the lungs of a 143-year-old man.
Terry Coker has chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. It's a lung disease that includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis.
About 90 to 95% of the patients that get COPD get it because they smoke cigarettes for a long period of time.
And it's usually not found until it's in its advanced stages because people don't know the warning signs. In Terry's case, it was smoking and hereditary factors that probably led to his condition. COPD symptoms include constant coughing, shortness of breath, high amounts of phlegm or mucus, difficulty breathing, and wheezing. Terry is able to manage his symptoms through daily medications, oxygen therapy, and pulmonary rehabilitation.
If you would have told me 2 years ago I walked in here that I'd have done a treadmill for an hour, I'd have said, you're crazy.
There is no cure for COPD, but with the right treatment plan, doctors say it is manageable.
Give up. You can keep going. You can do it. Get qualified people to help you.
And we want to let you know that Dr. Brian Naldoni is one of those people who can help you quit. He is a family physician that treats many patients to stop smoking. Joining us this morning. Doctor, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, and thank you.
All right, let's talk about cigarette smoke, right? What does it actually do to your body?
Okay, great question. When you first take that puff of cigarette and that smoke that goes into your mouth, one of the things that's happening immediately is you're seeing that your blood pressure goes up, not to mention the fact that carbon monoxide is entering your body and you're getting major effects in your body right from the go-get. This can become a problem, especially if you have underlying disease. So if you're a diabetic or you have other problems, these problems just coincide and they just continue to grow as you begin smoking.
You know, people look at cigarettes, right, and they say, it's not really a drug. Alcohol, it's a drug. Cocaine, drug. Meth, a drug. Marijuana, smoking pot, that's a drug. People don't look at cigarette smoke as being that serious.
You know, it's a common conception, and it's wrong. Cigarette smoking is highly addictive. We know that. And one of the biggest problems with addiction is that people, number one, don't know how to stop it, and they don't know how to ask for help, and it becomes a problem. So addiction in and of itself is a problem, but nicotine addiction is highly addictive, and you are absolutely correct, and the public needs to know this.
Yeah, and just to show people how powerful nicotine can be. You know, I know people who are in 12-step recovery programs, whether it be they're recovering off of meth or cocaine or alcohol abuse. Most of them will say the one thing they cannot stop, even with the program that they're living, is smoking.
It's true. It's true. In fact, many times in my office, I'll have patients that come in and they've tried over and over and over again to stop smoking. So one of the things that we assess right from the get-go is, where are they? Are they in pre-contemplation? Have they even thought about stopping smoking? Are they contemplating it? Are they beginning to think about smoking? And if they are, this is a time where the physician can interact and say, what can we do to get you to take action? How can we get you to that next step? So although it is a highly addictive chemical, if you will, that's causing damage and so forth and so on, how do we get people to actually engage? And how do we get people to say, okay, I'm ready to stop smoking? And with constant prodding and constant speaking to their physicians, a lot of times we can move people in that direction.
All right, so let's say people do have like an alcohol addiction or they have a meth addiction. You know, the body is a very powerful thing, right? The body can sort of heal itself from a lot of things. If I'm smoking for, let's say, 5 or 6 years, or doctor, perhaps say, I was a social smoker at one point. I'd go out to a bar, have a smoke here and there. Does my body, do my lungs heal myself?
Oh, that's a great question. And the truth is, yes. And actually, from the first 20 minutes of stopping smoking, your blood pressure actually normalizes. Within about 8 hours, the carbon monoxide, which of course is a poison, we know that, but carbon monoxide, it takes about 8 hours to almost completely get out of your system. Once that happens, and by the way, carbon monoxide has a higher affinity for the blood cells, so the oxygen, it does take time for that to come back up. And then finally, over 3 to 9 months, smokers will begin to get rid of that chronic cough. And in fact, they have shown that your lung volume actually begins to increase after that. After about a year, the risk of having a heart attack is about half of what it was before.
Okay.
So it does take time.
Talk to me about the myths out there. This is one thing I've heard. Somebody had told me it takes your body, if you've been smoking for 7 years, a pack a day, it's going to take 7 years to heal itself.
Well, I don't know if it's exactly that, but there are, if you continue to look at the statistics down the road, after 7, 10, after 15 years, I think it's after 15 years you're going to begin to see that your risk of having a heart attack is that of a non-smoker. So but there are a lot of, if you look at the facts, there are a lot of them.
Okay. I will say, when I was living in New York City, this is about 10 years ago, Mayor Michael Bloomberg was in, I think it was his first or second term. Here you have a mayor of New York City. Before any other city really in the country did this, he banned smoking in bars and restaurants. People were up in arms, right? Restaurant owners said that they were going to go break bank and then they weren't going to have any money and nobody would come to their restaurants anymore. Have we seen the benefit of cities who've decided to say, we're going to ban smoking from restaurants and bars? Have we started to see a benefit? Because secondhand smoke kills.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And whether or not we're seeing the benefit or not is yet to be determined. But I will tell you, if you speak to people, and I speak to patients every single day, the less exposure you, your children, and your friends have to tobacco abuse and to cigarette, the better off they're going to be in time.
What about the responsibility as well? And I don't want to make this too political, but you know, you've got bartenders out there. You've got people who work in an industry where people can smoke around them, and these people are breathing it in. The dangers of secondhand smoke are what? Is it worse? That's another myth, you know, that you kind of hear out there. Secondhand smoke is worse than somebody who's actually lighting up and smoking a cigarette. Secondhand
smoke is a real danger. In fact, I've had that exact example when I was early in my career. I had a bartender, a woman who did not smoke. But when we put the scope down into her vocal cords, we could see that she was already developing polyps, and her voice was always hoarse. And she had to change jobs because of that very reason. And with time, it did heal, but she had a problem that lasted. So the question is, what are we doing to our children by being exposed to the smoke? And at least in my family and for my patients, we tell them to stay away from smoke. It's so important.
Do we need to do shock therapy to kids when they're in junior high school and show them what a lung looks like?
You know, the American Academy of Family Physicians has a program called TAR Wars that the Georgia Academy of Family Physicians participates in, and we've been very, very successful in the state at getting into those 5th grade classes and teaching the children about TAR Wars and teaching them in a 45-minute program, teaching them exactly what's going on, and we do some games with them right there in the classroom, and it's actually been a very, very effective program here in Georgia.
All right, one final question for you. There was some controversy recently. They were going to be putting pictures of abused lungs, if you will, on the packs of cigarettes. Do you like that idea?
I love that idea. I think it's really good for people to see the pathology that's happening and have them see a visual of what's actually going on in people's lungs.
All right, Dr. Brian Naldone, I appreciate your time here with us this
Thank
morning.
you for having me.
All right, very good. Coming up here next on the show, how the government is now trying to stop kids from picking up their very first cigarette. You're also going to hear for yourself how difficult it is to stop smoking. A unique look at the effects smoking can have on your voice.